From the studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, it's time for This Week in League De Nutz with your host, Matt, Commissioner Nuts Levine. All right, and welcome to This Week in League De Nutz. I am the Commissioner, Matt Levine. All right, thank you so much. Thank you. It's not necessary, just not necessary. Second round of applause. Thank you so much, ladies and gents, and members of League De Nutz and beyond. As we have certainly hit the home stretch. You talk enough about it. No longer a formality. No longer something you envision. It's a reality. It's here. Extended League De Nutz for the first time, 14 weeks. We've been a 13-week league. We go the extra week to mix it up. Add some spice. With that said, take a look at the standings. And you've got a lot of teams that are alive and well. As you see the leaders there. And we'll talk about the standings and the teams and just how much they're in first place or out of first place or hanging at the bottom. Point being, really no one's out. Parity alive and well. And we'll go over these scores. Go back to those standings in a moment. Right now, if the season were to end today, these would be the teams headed to the second season known as the playoffs in League De Nutz. Keldar would be the top seed. He's on fire in Fuego. 7 straight wins. You see Smash U along with Keldar. They'd get a bye. Smash in as the second seed. You'd get your 3 versus 6 with Polkai, the mighty Dodge, representing the Bundys against the Yonkers Shotgunners, who would be the 6th. And then you get your 4 versus 5. Arizona Joe, Ozone, the rookie, would somehow get in there as the 4th seed, taking on Skills That Kills as the 5th seed. And so many times, usually at 4 versus 5 is usually the best game of the first round. I know it's not March Madness, it's League De Nutz, but there is madness involved. And we're all going to scramble to the finish to see who makes it into this 6th season. Into the second season as the top lucky 6 seeds. The other 6, we hang out and we have to wait for 2020. Hard to believe it's 2020, right? Almost 2020. Happy holidays to everyone as well. A few things to run down in between giving you the rundown of the scoreboard, including the Meltsies. Talk a little bit more about the Week 11 that is upon us. Just as a reminder, tonight, you've got Cleveland and you've got Pittsburgh in the TNF 8:20 start. Thursday Night Football. I do have a winner. I'll save that for the end. The teams on the bye this week, it includes the Packers, the New York Giants, Seattle Seahawks, Tennessee Titans. You got 4. Last week was ridiculous. And more than half a dozen. So you want to plan accordingly, of course. Maybe I'll give that to you again before we end the program this week in League De Nutz in the double digits. Week 10 in the books. So let's get to it. Let's run them down. Well, how about that Keldar? When the team's hot, you got to talk about them. Last year, it was Lights Kamar action. They went on an incredible streak all the way to the title. Got hot at the right time of the year. Keldar. 8-2, 7 straight win. I mentioned that. Over Pop Drop Lockett, 151 to 88. Pop Drop and Lockett. Everyone but he is alive. He's done. He has to wait till 2020. 1-9. Not his year. Still has the trophy. Collected the ducats, but he'll have to wait for season number 3 in League De Nutz to make a resounding comeback. Tough luck for him. His 88 not helped by the fact that he had No Ertz, no Edelman. Without Duke on the Texans, Duke Johnson. Had to make do with guys like Zach Pascal, 5 points. Brian Hoyer, ouch, 8 points. Kalen Ballage, 8 points. Normally I'd say Keldar, great win. But you score 151. Most often than not, you're going to score a victory. And Keldar gets it, well earned, because he's gotten guys that continue to do their job for Keldar. The Chubster has been a great asset this season. Keldar's going to rely on him again this weekend, tonight. 18 points last week. Comes through in the clutch. In addition to Nick Chubb. You had Ronald Jones, the second, 21 points. Lamar, what can you say? A couple weeks ago, I had Watson of the Texans as the MVP. 2 weeks ago, week 8, midway point of the season. I think Lamar's taken over in the race. 38 points for Keldar. And the guy has just been as good as you can be in doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that to get your 38. And no difference last week. Ran for 3 touchdowns in the win against Cincinnati, threw for another. Now, if you take Lamar's 38, you add in Chubb's 18, you throw in Jones the second, his 21, and how about Mark Andrews? I have him in my Dynasty League. Wish I had him instead of Keldar in League De Nutz. He's great. 23 points on his way to an all-pro season. Those 4 dudes add up to 100. That's all you need. Good enough for a victory. So Keldar comes through. Again, he is 8-2. Talk more about Keldar, Pop, Drop, and Lock It as we'll preview the Week 11 matchups here on This Week in League De Nutz. Again, I'm Commissioner Matt Nuts Levine. You know that. In the second matchup, we'll talk about Polk High School. Leading the Furley Roper division, 5-5. They lose to Skills, 7-3. Skills that kills 146-140. Now, going into the Monday Nighter, Polk High had a chance with Emmanuel Sanders. Only 4 points, injured in the first half. Not a factor thereafter. Status day-to-day. I believe it's a rib injury. So keep your eye on that, Polk High School. Polk has been kind of shifting between the Dak, Kyler Murray. Kyler came through last week, 36 points. Michael Thomas, 40. Meanwhile, for Skills, they got whacked by the bye. They had no Brady. They had no Edelman. Patriots had no vaunted Patriots defense, which has been fabulous for Skills that kills, averaging 20 points a game. But they get an amazing effort from, how about Christian Kirk? 54 points against Tampa Bay for the Cardinals in the loss. 6 grabs, 138 yards. The hat trick, 3 touchdowns.
Good job there by McCoy.
Skills that kills wins its second straight. Third matchup we'll talk about here. Yonkers over Dingstown. Yonkers 6-4. Dingstown, flip side of that, 4 up, 6 down. Falling 139-105. Now, most of Yonkers' team, in fact, everyone on the bench was on bye, including the likes of DJ Shark, who's been great, Alshon Jeffrey. But Yonkers gets it done with the old 30-30 club. No, I'm not talking about Darryl Strawberry and Howard Johnson, the late 80s Mets, each of them stealing 30, swiping 30 bases, hitting 30 home runs. They probably were around 100 RBI. I'm talking about Delvin, Cook, and McCaffrey. What a running back combo this Yonkers Shotgunners team has. Each of them put up 30 points apiece. They combine for 46 carries, 204 yards, 2 touchdowns, 13 receptions, 119 yards. I did my math. No one over 14 points for Dingstown except Hunter Henry, the tight end. Goff a dud, 3. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. As Dingstown has a setback in Week 10. While we got a moment, let's talk about the Meltzy, shall we? Yes, we shall. So there's your Meltzy scoreboard right there. Taking the Meltzy, and I'm going to get to this one in a moment, is Pop, Drop, and Lock It. Earns the second one for the season in Week 10 with those 83 points to Keldar. So there you go. I told you about that one. And you can see on the scoreboard there with his second, he's tied with Dings with 2, and then No Friggin' Luck, the overall leader, with 3. And you have a bunch of randoms like yours truly with 1. So the Meltzy's still up for grabs. Really is wide open. And you see we celebrate the Meltzy with a picture of Keldar, got a picture of Al Bundy up there, and you got a Furley Roper poster as well. Figure we celebrate the divisions, and that blue streak by Smash to the right. You can barely see that, but that is a representation of Long Island and what it looks like on a map. And that is where Shoreham Drive East is. So I forgot to put the Haganah, but I wanted to represent, well, Haganah, I guess we got Keldar's ridiculous picture represented there. Represent the divisions. Okay, let's move on. So there's your Meltzy update. Back to the scoreboard. No friggin' luck. We talked about them. They own the most Meltzys. They own a win over Loopy. Playing better, the rookie. 4-6 coming on. Third in Furley Roper, but has a chance. 151, 101, the 50-point win. Loopy, 5-5. Third in Luca Brazzi. And for no friggin' luck, it was Henry. Derrick Henry. Screwed me last year. Came on late when I was out of things. He's been more consistent this year, and he's been great. Last week, 23 carries, 188, 2 touchdowns. Le'Veon Bell coming through with 16, no friggin' luck, getting the luck. Tough one for Loopy. Really just a few guys in double figures. Josh Allen, the high man, with 24. Loopy has to go back to the old drawing board. Meanwhile, it was a 164 tie. Game of the week. This one was ridiculous. Between AB's Painted Helmet and Smash U. The difference, the bench. That's what happens. You roll it over to the bench. And who would have thunk it? That for Smash to get the victory, his favorite team, the Steelers, he has their defense shelved. On the bench, the Steelers' defense lifts them to victory with 25 points. You see, like that Mika Fitzpatrick trade. I knew he was a player here down in South Florida with the Dolphins. Bench, a problem for AB's Painted Helmet. Chris Herndon, the only guy showing up with 8 points. So, Smash goes to 7-3, first in Luca Brazzi. Second in Furley is AB's at 4-5. Quick mention there for Smash. Somehow, some way, this guy is a stopgap at quarterback. Smash has had problems. Started with Roethlisberger, has bounced around with a few different QBs. Gets Tannehill in there for 22 points. Made a difference. Also, Aaron Jones, one of my favorite players this year. Great pickup for Smash. 27 points, continues to be great. Receiver is not really a problem for ABs. Jarvis and Tyreek, they team up for 44 points. That's a tough loss. Tough season for AB's painted helmet. 164, 164. Then you get outscored on the bench, 63 to 9. Wow. Fight to play another day. Like I said, there is plenty of time left in this season. Don't forget the bye teams. Keep on reminding you. Green Bay, Giants, Seattle, Tennessee. Shouldn't have to tell anyone at this stage of the game to be cautious about forgetting guys in their lineup, but shouldn't have to tell anyone to send money either. Send the De Niro. It's been quiet on that front. Maybe everyone's saving for the holiday season. We got you, but send the 120, please. PayPal, via postal. Hit me up and can figure out how to get the De Niros down south. Talking about heading south, well, he's already there. Guy lives in the Bible Belt, like yours truly. I won the battle. 179, 154, Nutztown Destroyers over the rookie, Ozone. I'm 5-5 on those Destroyers. And Ozone falls to 4-6. Lots of duds in this one for Ozone, but the quarterback was the problem. The duds, Frank Gore. Old-ass Frank Gore. Just 2 points last week. I always like Frank Gore. Mike Williams on the Chargers, 7 points. The problem for Ozone was not able to get Pat Mahomes in on time. He had 40 points. Rivers started, old man Rivers. 14 points. And that made the difference as Nutztown pulls off the 179 to 154 victory. Big, big day for me in taking a roll of the dice. Going with number 8, Daniel Jones. I drafted Baker at round 8. Dropped him, inconsistent. Went with Kirk Cousins. Pretty decent job for me. A couple 40-point games. 1 dud, I think, in the 4 starts I had him, something like that. But I went with Daniel Jones in Week 10. And despite the Giants' troubles, he had 4 touchdown passes, over 300 yards. Hooked up with Golden Tate on 2 of those. So I got 28 from Tate. Melvin Gordon, solid. 24. Saquon, not so solid. You know, I got that number 1 pick in the League De Nutz draft, and I was giddy. But 26 has not been the same. Sophomore slump, high ankle sprain, offensive line, something mental. I don't know what it is. I know we have a stretch left. The Giants have a bye week. As I mentioned, they're one of those bye teams, but they need you 26. Definitely am. Got by without him last week. So I get the victory again over Ozone. Gets another great day from Cooper Kupp. One of the great fantasy players week in and week out in 2019. But again, Mahomes, the difference. And for me, I roll with Daniel Jones and I stay alive. Ozone plenty alive and well too. All right. Let's cue it up for the preview into week number 11 as we get ready for the final home stretch. Love it. Last, 5th of a season, thereabouts, last quarter of a season. Some good matchups. Pop, Drop, and Lockett, they've lost 3 straight. Dings has lost 2 straight. You may get a tie, like we had last week. We will go to the bench, so someone's going to win. Someone's going to snap that losing streak, most likely. You never know. Pop, Drop, and Lockett, I mentioned. Horrible second year in League De Nutz after making history as a rookie, winning the Nuts Cup. 1-9. Dings hanging in second in Shoreham Drive East, alive and well, 4-6. This is a big game for Dings. How fragile is first place in that Shoreham Drive East? This is amazing, right? Take a look at these standings. Dings is 3 points. 3 single points behind Ozone for first. Pretty amazing. This week, Pop, Drop, and Lockett. They'll have Wentz and the Patriots we highlighted before. Edelman. They'll have Edelman back at least. Ertz will come back. For Dings, you always have a shot. I've said this before. When you've got guys like Evans and Julio, you've got a shot. Dings right now is a ridiculous 94-point favorite, but Pop, Drop, and Lockett has to swap in players that were out last week and so on and so forth. So I don't trust that line because there's moves to be made by one lineup that just haven't been. So you've got idle spots to be filled that will be. You know, Pop, Drop, and Lockett waited till the final gun last week. I'll tell you that much. But he got him in. So I can't trust that 94-point spread, but I can pick a winner. I think Evans and Julio go off. They're due. They've had a couple of Sundays where they both fired on all cylinders. Either guy can get you 40 and a half. You know, can get you 50 points and get you close to 100 with both of them. Wouldn't surprise me. So I'll go with Dingalings for the victory. Smash, 7-3. We'll take on NFL, 4-6 in this Week 11 tilt. Smash, the former League De Nutz champion. NFL, in his first ever season, has felt the roller coaster ride of League De Nutz that sometimes happens, where you go up, you go down, you come back, you go forth. We don't know which way you're shaking. But they're in it. Smash is a 15-point favorite. Smash has the most points in League De Nutz. Only 3 teams have over 1,600. Smash, numero uno, 1,678. On top of Skills by 30 points in the point contest. NFL, not so many points. 11th, next to last, 1,218 points. Just 1 game back, though, in Furley Roper. Again, take the Ropers anytime. And you know what? I'm going to take the rookie to cover and win with the resounding upset this week. How about that? Meanwhile, Ozone. He'll take on those Yonkers shotgunners. The good thing for Ozone, you got plenty of time to get that dude in the lineup. Mr. Mahomes. One of the most fun quarterbacks I've watched in a long time. Really is. You know, there's Michael Vick, Dan Marino, Randall Cunningham. Guys that just do cool stuff. He's one of those guys, but he's on a different level. I think when it's all said and done, he's going to have some rings. But Ozone, he's worrying about what he can do for his team this week. This game, a pick'em. 4-6. Ozone against 6-4 Yonkers. Yonkers, the 4th highest scoring total in the league, averaging 156 points per game. You got Mahomes, you got Kamara, you got Amari Cooper. Mahomes is going to play against the Chargers, Cooper against Detroit, Kamara against Tampa Bay. That said, I think all 3 of those guys get a chance to light up their opponent. Good matchups. You got a big 3 on the other side of the ball, too. On Yonkers, you got McCaffrey against Atlanta. I like that matchup. Cook against Denver. I'll take it. And this young man who's just been so impressive. And this is a great pick by the Yonkers Shotgunners, getting this guy on this team, DJ Shark Jr. So you've got some heavyweights going at it. Now I see why it's a pick 'em. I have to pick Ozone. Beat him last week. I think Mahomes coming back is going to be huge. I think that's the difference maker right here. And of course, for the Yonkers Shotgunners, no Rodgers, right? Green Bay is on the bye. So that's who I go with there. In the pick'em, I go with Ozone, but not by much. I think he wins by maybe a point. Within 3 to 5 points. That's what I would say. The victory goes to the rookie. 1 or 2 Bro Bowls, sibling rivalry games on tap. The brothers Garda. AB's painted helmet taking on Will Bundy. Polk High School. 5-5, 4-5. Polk's got the 5-5. This is for first place. Well, could decide things down the stretch. This is a pivotal game. Polk won week 1. Won their matchup in week 1, I should say, in the first Bro Bowl. 178-123. Dak, the high man in that one. 46 points for Polk. We know how big Dak is for Polk High School. Been a big-time player. And for AB, well, you take a look at the buys, and he gets screwed by the Seahawks. No Russell Wilson, no Metcalf, who's starting to play like a primetime rookie. No Carson at running back, who's been great. You can slide in Watson. I mentioned playing at MVP level. You know, right now I'd probably put Watson behind Wilson to be the MVP behind Jackson, as I talked about a little bit about that before. But AB's going to need to do some things. As you see Dak hooking up with his favorite target, right? Good old Jason Witten. Not there. Anyway, enough watching the Cowgirls and the highlights. But you need to fill in the wide receiver slot there, AB. We'll see what brews there at the wide receiver position. Polk right now a resounding 69-point favorite because of the slots that need to be filled in, the gaps in the lineup with the missing Seahawks. So that's a big favorite. But with that said, I think Polk pulls off the victory. A lot of talent there on that team for Polk High School. I think the AB's painted helmet's going to miss having those Seahawks around. Tough luck last week. Tough luck this week. I think Polk wins, not 69, but I give him a win by 30, 25 to 30 points. Whoa, Bundy. Okay, we move on. The other Bro Bowl. Schmucky versus Schmucky. Nutz will take on Keldar. Nutz 5-5. 8th in scoring. Not happy about that. 1,476 points. 8-2 Keldar. Said it twice. I'll say it 3 times. Won 7 straight. Keldar, a big old 28-point favorite in week 1. I polished him off. 187-118. That game, I was led by Allen. Hasn't done anything for me on those Chargers. He had 38 points. He had 55 points in week 3. And since then, Keenan Allen has only had a high of 16 points, and that was last week. So I need him to erupt. Keldy, no bye issues this week. He's got his full allotment. He's got Fournette back after the bye. If you take Fournette, you take Lamar, and you take Chubb. That combination averages about 70 points. For me, no Daniel Jones. I'll get my Cousins back. Not literally. I got to start Howard at running back because Saquon is out. So I hope he does a great job for the Eagles. Gordon's been solid. Allen, I mentioned. I picked up Bourne from the waivers, San Francisco, because I can't trust Thielen, who has the hamstring problem. So I'm relying on the guys who can be stopgaps for the absentee Giants. Anytime you're relying on the Giants, when they're not there, you're in trouble. Fantasy or reality, right? So with that said, I'm never going to pick against myself, and I hope I kick Keldar's butt. I think I got a chance. Why not? Yonkers did it last week. All his main guys just about on the bench because of buys. Came through with the victory. I think Allen has a big game. Keldar's been on a roll. He's won 7 straight. But all good things must come to an end. Bro Bowl goes to Nutz. I think we have a close one. Anywhere from 3 to 5 points. Said that a moment ago. I'll say it again for this matchup. And finally, you got Loopies. You got Skills. You got 5-5 Loop, the former 2-time champ. He's taking his lumps week in, week out. He's been up and down this season, but he's in the thick of things, isn't he? That 5-5 mark. Skills 7-3. They played in week 3, these two. Skills won by 99. Problems and ain't one. Cup 46 points. Skills is a 5-point dog in this one. No bye problems. You'll have that Patriots defense. You'll have Sanu back. Christian Kirk, you're going to rely on him after that 54-point effort last week. For Loopy, you need your studs to come through. That starts with Hopkins and Galladay. Those two combined for about 45 a game. It's a must that they erupt with maybe their best games of the season. And I'm talking about Hopkins. He's one of my all-time favorite fantasy football players. He always comes through. Galladay, capable. Those two guys can erupt. I talked about dings before with Julio and Evans. It's the same combustible potential combination here. So with that said, I don't see a 99-point win. I think Loopies pulls it off. I'll take Skills to cover the 5, Loopies to win by 1. I'm picking a lot of close games. This isn't the first week I've done that. That's what I've got. So we ran through the week that was in 10, gave you the Meltzy scoreboard, showed you the standings, warned you about the buys. I shouldn't have to warn anyone. Was able to give you the projected playoff standings. Do that again. To check them out. This is how things stand right now. But by no means is that set in stone. We know that. 4 more weeks to go. 10 in the books. Lots and lots of season. Set your lineups accordingly. Think about them. Maybe don't think. Go with the gut. Take a gander. Because in the end, a lot of times it's just all luck. So we were able to do the projected playoff projections. We went through the standings a couple times, which goes hand in hand with the playoff projections. Also, the money, I mentioned that. Please do get in the $120. I've got 4 payments in, mine included, so really 3. So I got a bunch more to get in, and we can figure it out. Email me if you want to send the check or the PayPal. One more thing to do before I say sayonara and wish you a good Thursday night and a lucky week 11. How about a winner for tonight? I hate doing this. You know, I never used to hate the Cleveland Browns. I used to like them growing up. They used to have great players, right? They had Biner, Bernie Kosar. Who's the other running back? Biner and, gosh, I can't think of it. They had 2 great running backs. It's on the tip of my tongue. Frank Minifield, Dixon and Minifield were the cornerbacks. Some great, great football players. Anyway, that was then. Now they've got a team full of punks. Let's get that right. A lot of people picked them for the Super Bowl, not me. I didn't buy into the bandwagon talk with the Browns through the summer, late spring. Baker, I talked about him. He upset me. Taking on a Pittsburgh Steelers team that has built themselves around defense, and despite the injuries at quarterback, have managed to trudge along. They've had injuries at running back with Connor, right? Antonio's gone, no more Bell. Ben shelved with the injuries, so no more big 3. So it's, thinking in Pittsburgh, so is it time to hit the reset button, or do we plug away and build that defense and hope win some football games, old school Steelers style? So I have a lot of respect for what Tomlin and the Steelers have done by battling with defense first. But with that said, again, I hate to do this, so I'll pick the winner tonight. Got the Browns. I think they're due. 24-17. Take the Browns and the win. And I got to go because I got to look up who that other Browns running back was. Ernest Biner. And as soon as I look it up, I'm going to be like, that's right. Anyway, good luck. Go Nutztown Destroyers, my squad. Enjoy Week 11. Enjoy the Thursday night football. Have an awesome weekend. We'll catch you next week as we go into Week 12 this week in League De Nutz. Adios.